Make the bad man stop.
Hi everyone, this is Tim Alone like Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Can we really say it's the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment? Can we even use the word best in any phrase associated with the Giants? I'm afraid not. I've lived through the good, I lived through the bad. I've lived through it all. I've talked about it. I've talked about the desert known as the 70s, and we're going to review that a little bit. We're going to talk about that a little bit. I've talked about the watching the Giants from the pinnacle and watching them basically start in the desert. And I started with the Giants in the desert. We've talked about that a million times. It's just bad. And I'm going to compare how this is worse to the 70s. And I love it because the former Raiders CEO, Amy Trask, came out and called BS on the Giants head coach, Joe Judge, who defends his abysmal record and his team's undisciplined play. And all talking about how we're doing things the right way. But somehow the Giants are 4-10, 10-20 under Judge. They're probably, if they lose every game the rest of the season, I wouldn't be shocked. Gettleman at this point is 22-56. I don't know what, I mean, and for a former executive to come out and say, you know, that this is basically, you know, Judge is basically trash. I mean, it's you know, it's not a lie. It's not. It's, you know, you want to talk about things, doing things the right way, not quick fixes. But the problem is you're not fixing anything. And when former NFL executives come out and basically trash you as a head coach, I mean, it's crazy. Basically, it says the former CEO trusts Judge's recent 1,687 word, 6 minute plus answer to a question from a question. I don't think I wrote that many words on the bar exam, Trask said on CBS's pregame show. Most recently said, I am not interested in having some sort of quick fix. I'm not interested in shortcuts. I'm not interested in quick fixes. I want to do things the right way. How about you win some freaking games, Joe? How about that? I know that's a shocking aspect. Winning could be crazy. Winning could be nuts. And like I said, when former executives come out and trash your team and trash your head coach, it's just bad. It's just terrible. And everyone's got to relax a little with the Jake Fromm thing. I know it's exciting to see a quarterback. I was excited because I saw Jake come out. I saw him take command of his troops. I saw him lead his team to the line. I saw a sense of urgency. I've seen a sense of leadership that we have not seen in the last 3 years under Daniel Jones. I've seen him be able to set his alignment, to make his line shifts, to call out the mic, and then the ball was snapped. He looked good in the pocket, looked good moving around, looked fluid. Then he threw. The beef with old Jake coming out of college was the fact that he had no arm. And that's why he went in the 5th round. And the kid doesn't have an arm. When he threw that out to Kenny, I think it took a minute and a half for the ball to get there. Yes, there have been quarterbacks in this league that are successful with limited to weak arms. You think of Drew Brees, but Drew Brees could still get the ball downfield. You think of Chad Pennington. Chad Pennington, in my mind, was one of the weakest arms quarterbacks I've ever seen, but he had the accuracy. I mean, I'm not saying Jake is going to be a bad quarterback. I'm not saying that he is not going to be a good second or third team quarterback, but he does not have the arm strength to be a starter. It's painfully evident. And it's not a knock against him. I always hate when people are like, well, you're knocking him. I'm not knocking him. It's not a knock against him. It's not. That's what scouts have even said. I mean, they've said it coming out of college, and that's why he went in the 5th round. You know, that was one of his biggest issues in college. So, I mean, it's nothing against him. We're probably going to see him start next week, which is the right move, which is a move the Giants probably should have went with this week, because you need to play your young players. You need to see what they have. And can we just put Mike Glennon on the bench? Shut down Daniel Jones, put Glennon on the bench. And you also have to remember the Cowboys kind of laid off the gas at the end there. And when they did bring the pressure, we saw what happened. So, I mean, you can get excited, but you also have to just see, you have to see just what is going on and just see what you have. And just kind of go from there. But don't put this kid on a pedestal after, after 6 throws or 12 throws or whatever the hell he threw. I forgot. He did have 2 drops against him, but don't put him on a pedestal yet, because it's going to get harder each week for this kid. And it's fun just to hoping to see that you have something. But like I said, he has got limited to no arm strength. I want to talk about the 70s, because the 70s was a bad era in Giant football. We're going to briefly talk about it. And we're going to briefly talk about how we become the Jets. The Giants started the 70s at 9-5. And then from 9-5 in 1970, they went 4-10, 8-6, 2-12, 2-12-1, 2-12, 5-10, 5-9, 3-12, 5-9, 6-10, 6-10. And then they moved on to Perkins in 79, and they went 6-10 again. And then Perkins had a bad season, of course, in 80 at 4-12, and then he went 9-7, and the Giants made the playoffs for the first time. Giants had 3 head coaches. Well, technically 4, if you count. They had. Well, you figure, they had 3. Let's see, they had Webster, they had Alec Webster, they had Armsberger, they had McVay, and they had Perkins. So they did have 4 head coaches in the 70s. It was a bad team. It was a bad time. This team was outscored multitudes of times. They had horrible quarterback play. Going back to, Tarkenton was the leader in the beginning of the 70s, and they went on to Norm Snead, and then to Craig Morton, then to Joe Pisarcik, then Phil Simms the 1 year. And it was just purgatory. It was purgatory. We were such a poorly run, bad organization that after the miracle of the Meadowlands, George Young went to Pete Rozelle and said, hey, listen, I need a young GM to come in here and turn this organization around. And then, of course, he recommended George Young, and the rest is history. And, of course, I've told the story a million times. Even Pete Rozelle said in his book, the Giants were not made to hire. The league did not force the Giants to hire George Young. Actually, Wellington came and said, hey, to Pete, Wellington Mayor, that is, said, hey, Pete, who should we hire? Who would be a good hire for our team? And that's how the organization got turned around. So once we reached I want to say the upper crust of the 80s after the 3-12-1 season in 83. We were a franchise in the 80s to reckon with. We went 9-7, 10-6, 14-2, 9-6, 10-6, 12-4, and then we went 13-3 going into 1990. He won the Super Bowl. And all this time we ruled the city. We were the monarchs of the city. And we always have been. The Jets, in my mind, have always been a second-class team and a second-class organization to the Giants since their inception. It's one of those things that the Yankees will always be the number 1 team in New York in reference to baseball. The Knicks will always be the top team, no matter what team comes in. And you're in Brooklyn to me. You're not playing New York. You're playing in Brooklyn. The Islanders will always be over the Rangers because of what they did in the 80s. It's just the way it is. It is the chronicles of life. It is the nature of the beast. But you know what the biggest problem is? We have become the Jets. We have become a poorly run organization who cannot find a good, decent head coach to hire. We are still searching after 3+ years for our quarterback. And the fact that we get excited that Jake from State Farm, who has no arm strength, comes in here and moves the team against the prevent defense of Dallas and gives the fan base a little bit of hope, that excites us. Our roster is depleted of talent. Our drafts are horrid. Our management of, just from top to bottom is putrid. We can't find a decent head coach. And if Joe Judge is back next year and they hire Kevin Abrams, it's going to be bad. It's going to be the same thing over and over, and we are going to continue to wander the desert for 30 years. It's plain and simple. And the fact that the Jets, even when the Jets were going to AFC Championship games under Rex Ryan, the Giants still ruled this town. Still ruled the organization. Still ruled the city. But we've become the laughingstock. We have become the Jets. And I mean, that kills me to say, because like I said, I've been watching this team forever. And if the Giants think that Joe Judge is Belichickian and Parcells, they're idiots. They're fooling themselves. John is not Wellington. Not even close. And then to think that Patrick Graham is going to come in and take over the job, the number one candidate for the Giants as their the head coach. I don't want Patrick Graham. I don't want anything from the Belichick tree. I don't want anything from the Judge tree. Patrick Graham has been okay this season as a coordinator. He's been okay. Not great. Not great at all. There's been times where the defense is stunk and been putrid and can't get off the field. I want someone from outside the organization. You know, it's funny. You think about it, but someone like Kellen Moore. If you're going to give someone a shot, give it to someone like Kellen Moore over in Dallas, the offensive coordinator. Not that I would do that. I would personally like to have a quality head coach come in here with head coaching experience. Jim Harbaugh, I'm looking at you. Let's back up the Brinks trunk and give you whatever the hell you want. I'm done with these coordinators. I'm done with getting a free Pepsi. No, Mom, I'm not on drugs. I just wanted a Pepsi. Let's see how many people know what that's from. And then the fact that we sit there and Jake Fromm, you know, and I love it because you see some of the headlines. Jake Fromm fulfills dreams, forces Giants to have a conversation about a starting quarterback. He played at the end of the game against a prevent defense, and when they brought the blitz, we saw what happened. That's what's gonna happen. He's a smart kid. He knows how to move in the pocket. We did a whole video on him. He's got an impressive college resume. But that's it. That's what he has. And he's got no arm. He's got zero arm strength. Teams are going to tee off on his routes. They are. They're going to close on his routes quickly. You're going to have to go with a limited short passing game because I don't know if this kid can get the ball 30, 40 yards downfield. And maybe it's a good thing with the Giants because it will limit their playbook and make them go to more of a West Coast style offense. But as a long-term solution, Jake's not it. This is what Jet fans do. Jet fans get Mike effing White, see him put up one big game, and then they make him the quarterback messiah, and they forget they drafted Zach Wilson. This is why we have become the Jets. And it just kills you because you're like, you don't want to be the Jets. I remember the Giants 86 Super Bowl song. Most people don't remember it. I remember the video. We are the New York Giants. Some say we must be great. Pasadena is our business. Super Bowl, we just can't wait. And you know what? We sing now? We suck. We're the Jets. Dun, 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 dun. We're the Jets. We're the Jets. We're the Jets. It's time from top to bottom, fix this organization, do something, and do something bold. Be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid. And again, this is Tim with the Online Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could like, maybe subscribe, ring that bell, you know what I mean? That'd be awesome.